Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of TimeShot. I am Atyrum, and I believe last time we left off here, which was just about a week ago, we were taking a look at the inside of my ship here, which I believe hasn't changed at all since the last episode, other than me maybe rearranging a little bit of storage and adding some more stuff in. But the other thing that I have done since then is add on the sails to the ship, which is pretty much the final detail, other than maybe reshaping the front of the ship a little bit, and maybe a little more detail work along the sides, but that's pretty much the final detail I needed to add to the ship to complete it. And I'm not 100% sure I want to keep these the way they are. For sure they need to stay folded up because that makes the most sense, because the ship is docked. It wouldn't make sense to have the sails out and ready to sail. That would be kind of silly. But I'm not 100% sold on them being completely white. I might maybe make a pattern out of them, give them some stripes, or make them dark gray or black maybe. Black would make it look more like pirate sails, which could be pretty cool. But yeah, that's kind of the design that I kind of want to go for them. I think it looks decent for rolled up sails. And yeah, other than changing the color, I think that's just about set. And yeah, that is pretty much my first build on the server, just about done, and I am pretty happy with it. I think this has probably turned out better than anything I built on Season 2 of TimeShot. Speaking of which, we actually have over here, and this is a very temporary thing, not the idea itself, but the execution is very temporary. We have a couple portals to Season 1 and Season 2 of TimeShot because a couple members of the server have wanted to go back and either finish builds, work on stuff back there, or just be able to go back and revisit them. So we actually have the ability to go back to Season 1 and 2 of TimeShot and visit them and check out all the stuff back there, and also build on there and grab resources from the older seasons. This would be Season 1. I was not present on Season 1. I had not joined the server yet, but I am a little familiar with how spawn looks. But here we go right here. If you guys are familiar with TimeShot at all, you probably already know what all this stuff is, and you probably know better than I do. But yeah, it's pretty nice to be able to go back and look at all this kind of stuff. And one of the nicest things for me, because I don't really intend to go back and build on Season 2 again, is to go back and get some of my resources. It makes it a little easier to build stuff without having to go back and collect a whole bunch of stuff up over again that I already collected back in the previous season. The only downside is that we share inventory across maps, which means that the inventory I had when we ended Season 2 and also the inventory in my ender chest does not exist anymore, which is fine. That just means I can't get all my really good gear from Season 2, like my diamond armor, my tools, and my... Actually, I did find my elytra. It was inside a chest in the Jedi Enclave, but I did not find, let's see, I'm pretty sure I had a beacon at one point, or at the very least I had a nether star. So that's probably was in my ender chest, and so was some other stuff. But I do have pretty decent gear now. I actually spent quite a bit of time since last episode tricking out my armor set here. Pretty much the maximum you can get with Protection 4 and Unbreaking 3 and Mending, and then the extra enchantments for the helmet and the boots. And then my tools and my sword and my bow are pretty tricked out. Still need to add one more thing to the bow. I think it's Flame, and then I think Punch can also go up to 2 if I wanted to. My sword also needs Sharpness 5 still, and I think swords get one more enchantment. It might be Knockback, and I don't really want Knockback on my sword, so we'll just... If that's the only other enchantment I can add to it, we will forget about that. But other than that, we're pretty set up, other than not having Netherite, which is something I haven't quite done yet. As I mentioned last episode, and probably the episode before that as well, I have yet to enter the Nether, and we will be doing that, I'm going to say next episode, because I was planning on doing that this episode, but then we added in the Season 1 and 2 worlds. And I did want to finally come back and do the end of Season 2 tour, which is actually going to turn into a Season 3 episode, which is kind of weird, but that's just how it goes. I'd originally planned on loading up the world in like creative or spectator mode and doing the tour that way as like its own episode, but we'll go ahead and turn this into a Season 3 episode, and we will go through the things I built on Season 2, and also grab any other leftover stuff I may have missed in my chests. There's one thing that we won't get to in this tour, and that is going to be, well, first of all, I want to find a bed. Where the heck is there a bed around spawn? Why do I I guess I could just walk over to my base and sleep, although I don't think we should have Elytras, or Elytras. I don't think we should have Phantoms. They both fly. I got them mixed up, I guess. I don't think we'll have Phantoms spawning right now because I just slept, but that was in the other world, and I don't know if that carries over between worlds. You know, the fact that you slept, I would think it does. I'm not quite sure how that mechanic works, but we're going to go hop into the Jedi Enclave and sleep the night away real quick. But as I was saying, there's one thing we're not going to take a look at in this episode. Well, I guess two things, but only one of them was an actual thing. We had a jungle base that I had like barely started on in a stream, and I think I mostly just had like a portal area, and I had kind of cleared some land, but that was pretty much all I had done there. But it's also way out somewhere in the jungle. I'd have to boat all the way out there, and currently we don't have a separate nether setup for the Season 1 and Season 2 maps. They actually connect to our Season 3 nether, and I don't want to end up going through that to because that would just set me back at Season 3, and it would set me somewhere far away, which is something that happened to Poet when he went through the portal at his base here in Season 2. So we're not going to do that. Let's go ahead and start the tour. I kind of already wandered through the hallway here, but let's go ahead and start on the outside here. This is going to be my Jedi Enclave, which was my starting spawn base here on TimeShot. When I joined up at first, my spawn house was like a little dirt house over here, which is actually still here. And then you can't get into that chest. Is there anything in there? Just cookies. I think I got those cookies from Mara when I first joined the server as a welcome gift. So those are still there. And then down here, I actually was growing a whole bunch of vines. I believe this was where I was growing the vines to prank Poet, which was something that happened in Season 2. And honestly, I didn't have that many episodes in Season 2, or I guess period in TimeShot, because I was only on TimeShot for Season 2. Am I missing a dirt block here? There's one. But I think it was like episode 8 or 9 when Mara and I went out and pranked Poet by putting vines all over his base. I believe that was where I was growing them, because it was kind of hidden down there because I'd already covered up my old hidey hole. So that was kind of my hiding spot to do that. But anyways, Jedi Enclave, which is a not quite to scale replication of the Jedi Enclave from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is one of my favorite game series. Just the two original games. I'm not a fan of the MMO. I've never actually played it, but I don't like what they did with the story. I think the series really needed a KOTOR 3, and it never quite got it. So, yeah. Big fan of the two games, though. I play them, you know, pretty frequently. I think I mentioned wanting to do a Let's Play of them on my channel before, and it's never quite happened, and I'm not sure it ever will happen. I've been talking about it since 2012 when I started my channel, and it still hasn't happened. There's just been some difficulties with trying to get it recorded and whatnot. But anyways, you guys didn't come here to hear me ramble about Let's Play series I wanted to do and never did. So this is the courtyard here. Did a lot of building with orange bricks here. I wonder if there's better stair blocks now, because I'm not a big fan of the sandstone. It doesn't quite match the clay. I probably could have used sandstone for this part of it too. I don't know. I'm not going to come back and fix anything here. Obviously I could if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Coming into the entrance here, there's always zombie noises. I think they're in the walls here. There's just some dark spots that I never ended up lighting up or filling in. So there's constantly zombies in here. Anytime you walk in my base, there's going to be zombies. Got a little custom tree in the middle here that I'm not 100% satisfied with. I think it needs some more leaves. But again, not going to mess with anything down here. This base is like completely complete. Not really complete, but I'm not gonna keep working on stuff on Season 2 when we have so much to do in Season 3. This would be the dormitory. These areas of the base are the ones that I deviated from the original kind of layout of the Enclave from the games. I think in the original game, one of these hallways led to... Well, one of these hallways was this one that led to the council chamber, training room, all that kind of stuff. One of them led outside, which would be one of these hallways. One of them led to the landing pad where your ship, the Ebon Hawk, would land. And then one of these entrances was actually one that went to the basement. The basement level being an area you did not access until the second game. But obviously I took a lot of creative liberties, and I'm not 100% satisfied with how it all turned out. I think I should have made it bigger. I think that would have made the shape a little more defined. I feel like it's a little, I don't know, it looks a little awkward, just the shape of it. But yeah, this was my storage room. This is the place I actually went to first when we first decided to do this thing where we connected all the worlds. And I kind of came through and I already looted through most of the good stuff. I feel there's not much good left. I already have power 5 in my bow, so that's not going to do me any good. Some decent iron armor, not anything amazing, and I really don't need to take it with me. I have like 1,000,000 iron shovels for some reason, a bunch of them enchanted. I don't know what I was doing with those. I'm guessing I was trying to collect sand at some point, and I needed a whole bunch of just shovels to use to just go through, and I must have enchanted a whole bunch of them at some point. I don't know. We barely have any coal. Redstone I don't really care about. There's some quartz. We might as well take that, although we will be taking a trip to the nether pretty soon here. Glowstone dust could be nice. Prismarine could be nice too. I don't know. I don't want to take everything from here right now if we don't really need to. Blaze rods would be nice, but I think we actually have a blaze farm now. I know Spacey mentioned in our chat that we might have one, that there's one set up, or he posted a picture or something. So we'll go look at that at some point, probably when we go to the nether in the next episode. I feel like I've been saying we're going to do the nether next episode for several episodes now. We might want to take these potions, actually. That would be a good thing to have. I did brew up a couple fire resistance potions myself by using community resources from our community shack in spawn. Since I haven't been to the nether, I wouldn't be able to make those potions on my own because you need a magma cream, and I don't have the necessary materials for that, or to make a potion brewing stand. But since I can borrow from other people, I can still retain my having not been to the netherness. Ooh, there's actually quite a bit of sand here if I ever need that. That's probably what I got all those shovels for. Although I'm still not sure what I was using all that sand for. There must have been something. I don't know if I was trying to make a whole bunch of glass, maybe for the aquarium? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been quite some time. It's been 2-3 years since I worked on anything on here, I think. So yeah, it's been quite a while. So this area is a little more in line with what the original kind of layout of the game looked like. Not entirely, but there was like a little training area over here. And then you went to one of the Jedi Masters to, I think you had to recite the Jedi Code to him. And you also built your lightsaber at a little workbench that was kind of like right here, actually, as opposed to this workbench being here. I kind of decorated it with a couple weapons. At one point, I intended to set myself up a resource pack that I would kind of make myself, that it changed all the swords to lightsabers and all the bows into, you know, like blaster rifles. But I never got around to doing that. I don't know if I mentioned that in a video, but that was something I intended to do at some point. And then this is a council chamber. So these areas I kind of probably haven't shown much on camera when I actually was playing and making videos, because there's not much here other than just, you know, the room itself. There's nothing of use in here. Whereas the bedrooms and the storage room you would actually go into to do things in. But yeah, this would be where the Jedi Council sits and deliberates and all that stuff. In the actual game, there were not chairs. And in the first game, this was not wide open, but it is in the second game, in part because the Jedi Enclave kind of got bombed during the Jedi Civil War during the first game, which is kind of a spoiler, but the game is like 17 years old, so if you have not played it at this point, you should be disappointed in yourself. So yeah, let's go ahead and head out of here. That's pretty much all I had to show on the Jedi Enclave. Very much still an unfinished build. I didn't quite finish out everything I wanted to. I feel like the roof, the ceiling over here, it needed some work. I don't know what I intended to do with it. I think at one point I wanted to kind of build up the ground around it, and also add some kind of actual ceiling roof to it. Ceiling would be on the underside. This would be the roof on top. But the roof needs to be done a little better. And yeah, I feel like around the sides of it too. I started doing a little landscaping around here. And in fact, at one stream, I think I actually built out a river and a lake, which we can go check out real quick. But yeah, other than that, there was a lot to do here that I never ended up finishing or doing. This little bridge was something I did on stream. It's really nothing special, but I guess it's there. And I also dug out this whole river. I think it starts somewhere over there. It doesn't actually have a real source. I meant to do that at some point too. Have it connect to the ocean over there or something like that. But yeah, I dug out this whole river here. And I think this looks pretty nice for a... And I don't think this lake was here to begin with either. There was nothing here. And I actually made this whole lake. I dug it all out by scratch. So I think this looked pretty good for a man-made lake. And I will say I'm pretty proud of that. And that lake might be the best thing I built on Season 2 of TimeShot. And then this would probably be the best thing I built on Season 2 of TimeShot. This is my castle that I built on stream. Because someone on stream, I don't remember names because this was quite some time ago, told me he really wanted me to build a castle. So I was in the middle of doing something related to the Jedi Enclave, and I didn't feel like going off and doing something else. So I built him a castle just to get him to stop asking me. So that's what that is. That's my glorious castle there. So the other main build I had in the server was the aquarium, which is over that way. But I did have something up here, I'm pretty sure. And I keep forgetting I have ender pearls now. We don't have access to the end or the end farm from Season 2 at the moment. I think that's something that will happen at some point. But we do have access to all of our stuff, and I did grab this from my... because I had a whole double chest full of ender pearls, so I grabbed some out of there just so I can use them. So yeah, this is the temporary shack of temporariness. So what this is, because I don't think I'd ever talked about this on any video or stream or anything, because this was something I was working on in between my last actual video on TimeShot and before I started doing streams. So this was supposed to be like a big mini game area, and what this is up top is the TimeShot logo done in dirt. And now that I think of it, I think all that sand and glass that I was getting was actually for this. Because what this was supposed to be a big ceiling, and it's all going to be made out of glass. It'd be green glass for the TimeShot logo. And then I was going to dig out the whole mountain underneath and make it into kind of a lobby. And then kind of have like staircases going up into the mesa around here and connecting to various mini games around here. I know at one point I had planned on making a racetrack, and I think I had asked for donations. Need sand for game hall, glass ceiling, need packed ice for racetrack. I don't think I gathered this packed ice. Someone must have donated it to me, and I've already grabbed a whole bunch of it just because I might want to use it for something over in Season 3. But yeah, I had a whole bunch of furnaces that I was working on stuff with, and I think I had gathered up some resources, although I think since then I've come back and taken them elsewhere. But yeah, so this was a project that never really went anywhere, and therefore I never really talked about it on stream or on camera. So there you go. That's the the very bare bones start to the minigame area that never happened. And then the mindless mine was right over here, which was something that I planned on kind of connecting up to the minigame area at some point. But that never happened, and yeah, kind of taught me my lesson about not trying to start big projects. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't want to start big projects, but I feel like maybe I tried to get a little in over my head, trying to make a minigame area when I'm not really the best redstone person, so my minigame making ability would probably be pretty limited, and it would probably be mostly games that you've seen on other people's servers or seen on Reddit or something like that. Nothing real original. Obviously the ice boat racetrack thing is definitely not very original at all. But yeah, so that's that. We'll go ahead and move on from that and move to the aquarium, which is really the last thing I have to show from Season 2 here. Because as I said, there wasn't really anything else other than my jungle base, which was barely started. I did a lot of work like digging out stuff, especially underwater, and kind of clearing area, but I feel like I didn't really... And I think I kind of made a path out there in the nether, but other than that, there wasn't much done there. So it's not even worth showing off, even if I did have a nether route there, which I do not at this point. And then the other thing was I at one point made a video where I planned on going out somewhere and starting a new base outside spawn, and I never actually built anything there. So there's a couple signs that say like Addy's build area, and there's nothing there. So obviously we're not gonna go check that out. I only checked out the minigame area that I didn't really do anything with, just because it happened to be right there and we happened to be walking by it. So this is the aquarium. This is probably my greatest shame, I would say. Just because, and I think I probably touched on this on one of the other TimeShot Season 3 episodes, it's just such a big, ugly gray building that I don't know. I needed to do something else with this. I think I got off on the wrong foot when I was building this, and I didn't have a clear idea of scale, of, I don't know, what blocks I was going to be using, of design. I mean, I kind of very loosely based it off of the Shed Aquarium in Chicago in the US, but it kind of veered off that and went into its own thing. I will say this part, I kind of am a fan of this seawall right here, but other than that, the whole building itself is just kind of ugly. It's just a very flat, ugly, gray building. And I kept telling myself I'd go back and do some detailing work on the outside with Prismarine and all that kind of stuff. because I started working on this aquarium pretty soon after the aquatic update came out. But I just never really got enough prismarine. It was just taking way too long to grind up that much material. It just took a lot of grinding sitting at the Guardian farm. It just ended up not turning out. So, I mean, even on the inside of the stuff that's finished, I'm not 100% happy with how this looks. It's fine, I guess, but there's a lot of empty space, a lot of empty flat gray space up here. Obviously, I think I did plan on filling out some of the ceiling and putting more prismarine up there too, to kind of fill it out and make it a little less, you know, monotonous, I guess is the word. I don't know. It's just a lot here that I think I was just way in over my head with, which is why for my first build on season 3, I started with something a little smaller. My ship is not huge. It's a decent sized ship, but it's not huge, and I kind of knew I'd be able to finish it without getting too overwhelmed, which I did, and I am pretty happy with it. So yeah, the entranceway here is probably the most complete of the aquarium. I did kind of put a TimeShot logo very similar to my idea for the minigame area in here, but I had to scale it down a bit, and it kind of looks a little wonky, and you can't really tell that it's the TimeShot logo, at least in part because I mistakenly, I think this was probably a big mistake, was built the aquarium on a base of 2 blocks rather than centering it on 1 block, which meant I had to make the line through the TimeShot logo a lot thicker, which looks very odd, and it really just does not look like the TimeShot logo. So that was a failure on my part, and I have learned my lesson there. So this is the turtle enclosure. I actually stole one of these turtles from Spawn. It was hanging around the Spawn monument, the Spawn monument. So I think this looks pretty decent too. This is an okay exhibit too. And then we have some very plain looking areas here. I like the tanks on the inside. I think I did make a mistake using gray glass. I think I should have used regular glass or something else, because the gray glass is actually a little harder to see through. But yeah, another one of those things that's already been done, and I'm not going to come back and work on this at all. So what's done is done, and yeah, so this was more of like a tropical fish kind of thing. This was probably the most fun part of this, was actually going out into the reefs and going out and finding all the fish and catching them. I think that was a lot of fun. Okay, and then over here we had kind of like a concession stand. I keep hearing a villager over here. I don't know if at some point I carted a villager over here to put in one of these stands or what, but there is a villager somewhere hanging around inside this somewhere. I think this is all hollow. You may have heard him in the background there a second ago. But yeah, I don't know. Don't quite remember what I planned to do with that. This was probably going to be another food shack. And then this was the dolphin area. I actually had both my dolphins die on me at one point, and I had to actually enclose the whole thing from the top, because what happened is they actually jumped out, because all I had was glass panes 1 block high all the way around, and the dolphins managed to jump out, and I think I raised it to 2 blocks high, and they still managed to jump out. And I guess despite dolphins being mammals and breathing air, as far as I know, they actually do die on the land, or maybe they just eventually despawn. I don't know what happened. They had name tags. They shouldn't have despawned. They must have just died somehow. I did replace one of them, but I think I never got a chance to replace the other one. There was like a little viewing area down here, which I think I definitely had some more plans for. It's very plain and gray. A lot of plain gray stone. This is another thing I really don't want to do in Season 3, is overuse the stone bricks. Because it's a nice block. It's a very good neutral block. But I have a habit of using it as my crutch and just building everything out of it, which I think is probably kind of a problem. Especially because this was meant to be a more modern building, and the stone brick is meant more for like castles and stuff like that. I don't know. I just feel like this whole thing just did not turn out, and I'm so glad that we moved on to Season 3, because this was one of the biggest things stopping me from wanting to play, was the fact that I'd have to face up to the fact that I needed to finish this at some point. But now that we've opened up Season 1 and 2 to be available from Season 3, I don't really feel any obligation to work on this. I'm not sure how many people are really going to be working on stuff from previous seasons. I think Win has mentioned wanting to work on something from Season 1, but I'm not real familiar with what that is, having not been around during Season 1. But other than that, I'm not sure how many people are going to actually be building stuff on here, and how many people just want to be able to come do a little tour for nostalgia's sake. Feels kind of weird saying nostalgia because it feels like Season 2 wasn't that long ago, which really it wasn't because we reset fairly recently. But it has been a while since I actually played on here. Other than once, I did make a video very similar to this one where I did kind of a final tour of Season 2 before we decided on a map reset. I was planning on kind of going out from spawn and kind of doing like a quote-unquote fresh start. It kind of leaving all my stuff behind and basically almost starting a new season on my own, somewhere far away from spawn in the Season 2 world, but I ended up not ever doing that. Which is fine because we ended up starting Season 3 for real. But yeah, let's go ahead and pop on back to Season 3, back on home here. Yeah, eventually this is going to turn into something else. I think we mentioned putting these in the Nether and kind of giving them each their own tunnel. Maybe with some kind of decoration that kind of reminds you of Season 1 and Season 2. Their overall aesthetic or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, we're coming up on like 25 minutes here, so that's probably a good place to end the episode. It ended up going a little longer than I anticipated. I just kind of thought we'd do a quick tour around Season 2 spawn. And then I'm actually going to record another episode tonight. Because I know last time I mentioned that I was going to record another episode last weekend, and I never ended up doing that. So to avoid the problem of putting off recording an episode, I'm actually going to record another episode tonight. Get it? Another episode tonight. But yeah, we'll be going to the Nether, and that episode will be posted a little later this week. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.